You are welcome to today's course. Today we are going to be looking at the law of reciprocal proportion. It's very simple. It's an extension of the law of multiple proportion. It states when two different elements combine separately with a fixed mass of a third element, the ratio of the masses in which they do so are either same or simple multiple of the ratio of the masses in which themselves combine with each other. This is fantastic. Now, let's look at an example. Let's look at an example. Take, for instance, when carbon combines with sulfur, or rather, when carbon and sulfur combines with oxygen. How is it going to be? Okay, so carbon combines with oxygen. That will give us CO2. Is that right? Okay. Then oxygen, if it combines with sulfur, would give us SO2. Is that right? Yes, that's right. So if you look at the way in which they combine, so you can see that the two elements combining is carbon and sulfur are combining with the third element, oxygen, which has a fixed mass. So now, what is the atomic mass? What is the mass of carbon here? That is 12 grams. What is the mass of sulfur? That is 32. You are looking for the ratio. If we break this down, 12 divided by 4 to give us 3. 32 divided by 4 to give us 8. It means that the ratio is 3:8. Exactly. Look at this very well, because this is going to be our reference in every other compound that is going to be formed. This ratio, other ratios that we are going to have by the combination of those two elements is going to give us the same ratio as 3:8 or multiples of 3:8. That is what law of reciprocal proportion is all about. So, carbon, which combine with oxygen, and sulfur combining with oxygen. So, if carbon and sulfur themselves combine, if both of them combine, what are they going to give us? CS2, carbon disulfide. So, when you look at the atomic mass of carbon here, is 12. You look at the atomic mass of sulfur here. We have that of atomic mass is 32 multiplied by 2 that is here. 32 by 2 is going to be what? 64. This is 12 is to 64. When you break it down to a lesser value, 12 by 4 will give us 3. Then 12, 64 by the same 4 is going to give us 16. So the ratio when carbon and sulfur combines is 3:16. Now, 3:16 is not exactly the same with 3:8, but it is multiple of 3:8. So, the law of reciprocal proportion holds here. This is excellent. Now, we're going to take the second illustration. I believe that with this one, you'll be able to understand everything that we're talking about. Now, let's take it now. So, in this case, sulfur is going to combine with hydrogen, and oxygen will as well combine with hydrogen. So, the two elements, sulfur and oxygen, are combining with the third element, hydrogen. As usual, sulfur combines with hydrogen to give us H2S. Hydrogen combines with oxygen to give us H2O, water. So, what else are you going to do? So, the two elements that are combining with the one with the fixed, you can see that hydrogen has a fixed mass here. So, the two elements we are going to consider is sulfur and oxygen. So, the atomic mass of sulfur here is 32. The atomic mass of oxygen here is 16. So, if we take the ratio of both of them, so 16 by 32 is going to give us 2:1. That's 16 divided by itself 1. 32 divided by 2 by 16 is 2. So it's going to give us 2:1. So now, this is our reference, 2:1. When sulfur combines with oxygen, it's either they give us exactly 2:1 or they will give us multiple of 2:1. If that will not happen, then the law of reciprocal proportion does not hold. So let's look at it now. So sulfur is going to combine with what? Yes, oxygen. When it combines with oxygen to give us CO2, it can even combine with it again. To give us SO3. So it can give us sulfur 4 oxide, can also combine to give us sulfur 6 oxide. That's right. So the next thing, what is the atomic mass of sulfur? 32 is 2. What's the atomic mass of oxygen? 16 times by 2 is what? 32. 32. That is 1:1. You can see that 1:1 is not the same with 2:1, but it is multiple of 2:1. Now so law of reciprocal proportion holds. So let's look at this. So what's the atomic mass of sulfur here is 32. What is that of, so we now have 16 times 3 for that of oxygen to give us what? 64. This by 16, 32 by 16 will give us 2:64. By 16 will give us 3. You can see that 2:3 is also a multiple of 2:1, because the law states that it's either they are the same or they are multiple. You can see that so you can see that 1:1 is a multiple of 2:1, and 2:3 is a multiple of 2:1. Is that clear? This also obeys the law of Dalton atomic theory, which talks about that atoms combine in simple whole number ratio to form compounds. With these two examples, I know that you are now clear about the law of reciprocal proportion, which says that when two elements combine with a fixed mass of a third element, that the ratio of the masses in which they combine are either same, or it's either they are same with this, or are in simple multiple ratio. Simple multiple ratio. These are in simple multiple ratios of the masses in which they themselves, sulfur and oxygen, combine. Thank you. This is the end of the class.